Bar with student ID attached. Mr. Whitman waited until the leaders moved away before leaning toward me. You almost ranted. But I did not. I noticed. Can that be my new Chinese score? No. Cruel man. The school posted the open class video that afternoon. The clip they chose was my do simple things repeatedly line, the score sheet joke, and the chant. Within an hour, students were quoting it in the forum. Within 2, Ryan sent a screenshot from Westbridge High's group chat. Ryan Brooks messaged, Morrison says the chant is childish. I messaged, he deleted a praise post and bribed you with breakfast money. Ryan Brooks messaged, I said nothing because I am a professional informant. Ryan Brooks messaged, Dean Hayes told teachers not to comment on board matters. Ryan Brooks messaged, translation, scared. I should have enjoyed that longer. Instead, I sat in the library after school, open class video playing silently on one tab, and a supplier page open on another. The supplier page belonged to Willow Lace Boutique. I chose that category for the ugliest reason. I remembered it from the old life. A small online store in that niche had blown up around Christmas because its algorithm timing, packaging, and comfort-focused basics hit exactly when holiday shopping went feral. It was legal, boring if described responsibly, and embarrassing enough to make a grown man reconsider every life choice. Perfect. My public image had just become inspiring student author. My private tab was full of wholesale comfort wear and shipping charts, duality, character development, academic excellence with inventory risk. I covered the product thumbnails when Emma walked by because I had survival instincts in at least one category. She paused at my table. Are you writing? Researching. For the novel? For capitalism? She tilted her head. That sounds dangerous. It usually is. The problem was capital. The open class video had given me attention, but attention did not buy inventory. My small savings could cover the store setup and first test batch. If the trend hit the way I remembered, the orders would outrun my wallet fast. I looked at the video, then the supplier page, then Emma's careful expression. Fame, romance, and business pressure had arrived at the same table. Some people got a peaceful senior year. Apparently, I got a literature chant and a store category I could not explain without lowering my voice. Madison tried to add me back the same afternoon I became Brookfield High's inspirational video clip. The timing was so shameless it deserved a certificate. Her friend request sat on my phone while I was still in the library, pretending the Willow Lace supplier page was normal academic research. The message preview came with her usual soft panic. Madison Cole messaged, Logan, please. Mr. Morrison says the board video is making things complicated. I just want to talk to you like before. Like before. That phrase had enough mold on it to qualify as a biology sample. I screenshotted the request, sent it to my private folder, and declined it. Then I looked at Emma, who was still standing beside the table with her notebook hugged to her chest. Miss Blake, I said, do you watch movies? She blinked. Sometimes. Excellent. I am conducting field research into whether inspirational student authors can survive normal social activities. Are you asking me to go with you? Yes. She looked at my laptop where I had slammed the lid down a little too quickly. For capitalism? For cinema? I lent you money. I repaid the gate money this morning. I know. Then why mention it? Emma's ears went pink. Because I am not used to being asked to movies. That shut my mouth for half a second. A rare public holiday. Then I will ask clearly, I said. Emma Blake, will you watch a movie with me this weekend? She looked down at her notebook. I have to ask my father. That is allowed. And I am not buying the tickets. I invited you. I pay. That sounds like debt. It sounds like a date. She froze. I probably should have softened it. Too late. The word sat between us, huge and ridiculous and wearing formal shoes. Emma's voice dropped. A date? If you hate that word, we can call it a joint cultural field trip with snacks. Her mouth moved. A date is fine. I kept both feet on the floor, made no victory speech, and preserved my library privileges under Ms. Anderson's jurisdiction. I simply nodded like a mature adult. Inside, every brain cell I owned ran directly into a wall. The movie was 2 days later. I brought milk tea because affection without logistics was just poetry pretending to be useful. Emma arrived in a white dress under her coat, with a small handbag held in both hands. She looked so different from the quiet girl at the window that my first instinct was to make a joke before my face gave away too much. Miss Blake, I said, you have betrayed the seating chart. She looked down at her dress. Is it strange? Very. Her shoulders tightened. Strange in the sense that my vocabulary has become useless. She looked up, and the worry left her eyes slowly. Say the true thing, then stop. I was learning. We watched a movie neither of us remembered afterward. That was probably the film's fault, but I was willing to accept partial responsibility. Emma sat beside me with both hands around her milk tea for the first 20 minutes, like the cup was a legal guardian. Halfway through, her fingers rested on the armrest. Mine rested beside them. The gap between our hands became the most dramatic thing in the theater. Forget the actors. Two seniors trying to touch hands without causing a national incident had more suspense than the entire plot. When my fingers finally brushed hers, she did not pull away. So I held her hand. Emma stared at the screen with heroic concentration. "Your hand is warm," she whispered. "I studied." She pressed her lips together, trying not to smile. After the movie, I gave her the bracelet. It was simple, silver-toned, with a small pale charm. Nothing expensive enough to scare her, nothing cheap enough to insult the moment. I had picked it because she used her hands like careful instruments, writing, adjusting her glasses, folding apology notes, lending money with a calm face while making sure I wrote a debt record. "This is not repayment," I said before she could object. "The debt record is separate. This is because I wanted to." Emma held the bracelet in her palm. "Why?" "Because when everyone was calling me a problem, you asked whether I was okay. Because you told me the novel was good before it made me famous. Because you warned me about Mason even when you barely knew me." She blinked fast. "That is a lot of because." "I cut several for time," she laughed quietly. I fastened the bracelet around her wrist, and for once neither of us made the moment smaller. Her hand trembled a little. Mine did too. Then, because I was still me, I said, "I can walk you home tonight." Emma's eyes widened. "Home," I clarified quickly. "To your door. Public sidewalk. Fully legal. No dramatic misunderstanding package included." She clutched her handbag tighter. "I know. You did not look like you knew. I was confirming." "With the handbag defense stance?" She looked away, pink to the ears. "Maybe. That tiny misunderstanding should not have made me as happy as it did." Ryan ruined the softness 3 minutes later. Ryan Brooks appeared across the street with a skewer in one hand and the expression of a man who had discovered national treasure. "Logan Miller?" he shouted. "Miss Blake?" I closed my eyes. Emma whispered, "Is that Ryan?" "Unfortunately, yes." Ryan lifted his phone. "Smile for evidence preservation." "Ryan," I said, "I will preserve your spine separately." He took the photo anyway. By evening, the picture had spread through 2 class chats and 1 Westbridge High group, because Ryan understood privacy as a theoretical concept other people enjoyed. I did not deny it. When someone in Brookfield High's forum posted, "Is exit pass dating Emma Blake?" I replied with 1 sentence. Ms. Blake owed the seating chart an explanation. Emma saw it and hid her face in her notebook for an entire minute. Ms. Anderson passed our row before first period, glanced at Emma's notebook fortress and said, "Class gossip is not a homework category." "Teacher, that limits our electives," I said. "It also keeps me from assigning reflection papers." The room lowered its volume immediately. Emma's shoulders eased, and I filed that under adult intervention that did not require a microphone. Madison saw it too. I knew because Ryan sent me a screenshot from Westbridge High's group chat where someone had posted our photo and Madison had gone silent again. Silence was becoming her most honest language. Chloe also saw it. The next morning, she dropped into the seat in front of us with a breakfast bun and a face full of theatrical injury. "So," Chloe said, "the author has a date, a bracelet, and a secret laptop tab." My hand stopped on my pen. Emma looked at me. Chloe smiled sweetly. "Breakfast tomorrow," or I ask out loud why an inspirational literature celebrity was researching Willow Lace Boutique in the library. Emma's eyes moved from Chloe to me. Consequence had arrived wearing lip gloss. "It is a store wearing lip gloss." Emma's expression did not change, which was worse. "A legal online store," I added. "Comfort-focused apparel, non-explicit, boring business category with embarrassing branding." Chloe laughed so hard she had to put the bun down. "You are selling that. I am evaluating a market. That is what guilty people call selling." Emma adjusted her glasses. "Why that market?" I could have lied. I could have said I stumbled on it randomly. But after the author's secret mistake, lying to Emma over a business tab would be premium stupidity with gift wrapping. Because around the holidays, small online categories spike if the product is practical, priced right, and packaged discreetly, I said. I remember seeing a store like this explode before. It is embarrassing, but the demand is real. "You remember?" Chloe asked. "From old market posts," I said smoothly. That was close enough to truth to stand without exposing the impossible part. Emma looked at the bracelet on her wrist, then back at me. "Is this why you needed money?" "No. The gate money was separate, and I repaid it. I have not borrowed for the store. Will you?" "I do not want to." That answer mattered. Emma nodded once. Chloe leaned on her hand. "So, breakfast?" "Fine," I said. "1 breakfast, in exchange for not yelling my store category across the classroom like a town crier with no future. 2 breakfasts, 1 breakfast and I explain how I beat you in English. Chloe paused. Deal. Emma looked between us. That was fast. Academic jealousy is a stable currency, I said. The Willow Lace store went live that night. I kept the setup simple, clean product names, no explicit descriptions, no ridiculous slogans, basic size guidance, discreet shipping, and customer service templates that sounded like a normal business instead of a teenager sweating into a keyboard. Ryan handled the first wave of promotion through people he knew online, which meant he sent exactly 1 sentence to a dozen group chats. Ryan Brooks messaged, "My friend opened a mystery comfort store. Use this link if you are an adult and have taste. Do not ask me questions." I called him immediately. Ryan. What? I said. Adult. You also said mystery. Mystery sells. No Ryan. Boring categories do not go viral. He was wrong in principle and annoyingly useful in practice. The first orders came in before midnight. Then the next. Then the next. Small numbers, but real. Real names. Real addresses. Real money. I stared at the dashboard longer than I should have. Exit pass comments felt good. Exam scores felt good. This felt different. A store did not clap. It demanded packaging, responses, inventory, refunds, shipping times, and enough cash to survive its own success. By morning, the order count had crossed what my tiny test batch could comfortably handle. Hope was visible. So was the problem. Mason found me behind the gym during lunch. He looked worse than usual. Not angry worse, tired worse. His uniform jacket was half-zipped, his hair was messier than his image normally allowed, and he did not start with a threat. That alone made the joke stop. "You pay people for that store?" he asked. I closed the order dashboard on my phone. "Depends what they do." He stared at the ground. "My grandmother is in the hospital again. My dad got hurt in a car accident last month. I need money." His voice had dropped the performance, just pride being forced to walk barefoot over glass. I had disliked Mason. That was easy. He had threatened me, postured at me, tried to scare me with outside boys. But standing there, asking without knowing how to ask, he did not look like Tyler. Tyler enjoyed protection. Mason was drowning inside his tough guy costume. "Are you asking for a loan?" I said. His jaw tightened. "Forget it, Mason." He stopped. "I do not do pity loans," I said. "I have work." He turned back, suspicious. "What kind?" "Customer messages, sorting orders, packing lists, delivery coordination. Private setup. Skip product jokes in public, keep the tough act away from customers, and I pay per batch with a bonus if you do it clean." He looked at me like I had offered him homework with a paycheck attached. "You want me to work for you?" "No, I want you to work for money. I am simply the annoying doorway. And if I mess up, I fire you." For the first time, Mason almost smiled. "You are still arrogant. Consistent branding." He looked away. "I cannot have people knowing, then do the work quietly. Why help me? I could have said because I needed labor. True. I could have said because turning a rival into a worker was efficient. Also true. But the real answer sat in his tired face. "Because needing money does not make you weak," I said. "Acting cruel because you need respect does." Mason swallowed. Humor stayed dead for that one. "Fine," he said. "I will try. Trying is cute. Orders need correct addresses." He rolled his eyes, and the room breathed again. That afternoon, Mason Cooper, former gate threat and current reluctant human logistics department, sat beside me in an empty classroom and learned how to answer customer messages for Willow Lace without sounding like he was about to challenge someone to a fight. It was painful. It was also productive. By the end of the hour, he had processed 12 orders, made 3 address corrections, and asked whether the store name was supposed to sound like a mushroom. "It is Willow Lace," I said. "It is memorable. It sounds like a snack." "So did your intimidation strategy?" He glared, but he kept typing. The order count kept climbing. Emma watched us from the doorway after school, bracelet on her wrist, expression thoughtful. "He works for you now?" she asked. Mason stiffened. "He works for money," I said. Emma nodded, like that answer mattered. Mason looked at the bracelet, then at me, then wisely chose silence. Maturity was spreading. Frightening. That night, the store crossed a number I had not expected until the end of the week. Ryan sent 3 screaming messages. Chloe demanded her breakfast before she raised consulting fees. Mason sent a photo of packed order slips with the caption, Mason Cooper messaged, "Done. Pay accurate." I looked at the dashboard, then at Emma's unpaid emotional trust sitting inside every decision I made. The store was real. The date was real. Mason's need was real. And then, right before midnight, the class group chat exploded. A Brookfield High student claimed he had been admitted early to Rockwell University through a private entrance channel. No SAT needed. Pay the fee, pass the private exam, secure the future. Mason messaged me at the same time. Mason Cooper messaged, "Orders still rising. We need more inventory." I stared at the fake admission link on one side of my screen and the Willow Lace order dashboard on the other. Two problems, both hungry for money. Only one of them was real. Caleb Warren announced he had escaped the SAT before first period, which was how I knew the fake Rockwell scam had arrived. He stood near the front row with his phone held up like a trophy. The screen showed a red-stamped admission notice, a private consultation account, and enough official-looking language to make nervous parents hear wedding bells from a university gate. "Early admission," Caleb said. "Rockwell University. Private entrance channel. My uncle knows someone." The class moved toward him like someone had opened a bag of future. I stayed in my seat. Willow lace orders were still rising on my phone. Mason had already sent 2 messages asking whether we should reorder packaging. I had planned to spend the morning pretending I was a normal student with normal problems, which was adorable of me. Then Caleb said the magic words. No SAT needed. Every head turned sharper. In senior year, no SAT needed was not a sentence. It was a weapon disguised as dessert. Someone near the window asked, "Is it real?" Caleb puffed up. "My family paid the review fee last night. They said if we finish the private exam, the seat is held. Held. Review fee. Private exam. Seat guaranteed." The scam had not even changed its shoes from my old life. I walked over and looked at the notice. The logo was close, the wording was smooth, and the contact number was 1 digit away from looking respectable. A lazy scam would have been easier. This one had done homework, which was rude because homework belonged to students suffering legally. "Call Rockwell's official admissions office," I said. Caleb glanced at me. "I already called." They answered. "You called the number on the flyer. That is the admission office. That is the number printed by the people asking for your money." The room made the soft sound of everyone realizing this might become interesting. Caleb's smile tightened. "Are you saying I got tricked?" "I am saying call the official number from the university website." "Why? Because you are jealous?" Pride had arrived wearing a student uniform and holding a counterfeit future. I took out my own phone and searched the official Rockwell University site. "Here, use this number." Caleb did not take it. The class stared at us. Chloe looked from Caleb to me, then slowly lowered her breakfast bun. Emma had gone still beside the window, bracelet bright on her wrist. Ms. Anderson entered at exactly the wrong time for peace, and exactly the right time for survival. "Why is everyone standing?" she asked. One boy answered, "Caleb got into Rockwell." "Private channel," another added. Ms. Anderson's eyes moved to Caleb's phone, then to my face. She had developed a teacher sense for situations where my mouth was about to become school paperwork. "Logan," she said, "short version. Caleb's family may have paid a fake admission office. We need to call the official number, not the flyer number." Caleb snapped. "You do not know that." "Good," I said. "Then prove me wrong in front of everyone. That was unfair. It was also effective." Caleb took my phone like I had handed him a snake. Ms. Anderson stood beside him while he dialed the official number on speaker. The class held its breath. The line connected. Ms. Anderson handled the first part because adults sounded less like chaos when speaking to other adults. She gave the school name, explained that a student had received a private entrance admission notice, and read the number printed on the flyer. The admissions officer on the other end went quiet for 3 seconds. Then she said, "Rockwell University has no private entrance channel for final year high school students. Please do not transfer money. Keep all records and report to local police." Caleb's face changed. The pride drained first. Then the color. That was the early reward, and it tasted like relief with a side of dread. Ms. Anderson took the notice from him. "Has your family paid?" Caleb swallowed. "A deposit. How much?" He lowered his voice. That was when the joke stopped. Ms. Anderson did not scold him. Good teachers knew when a student had already been punched by reality. "Call your parents now," she said. "Tell them not to send another cent. Logan, send me the official link and a screenshot of this notice. Class monitor, go ask the office to contact Dean Roberts. Everyone else, sit down and stop forwarding anything until the school verifies it." Students moved fast. Fear did what announcements could not. Within 20 minutes, Brookfield High had the flyer, Caleb's chat records, 2 other students admitting their families had asked about the same channel, and Dean Roberts walking into our classroom with the expression of a man whose peaceful morning had been dragged behind a bus. He listened to Ms. Anderson, looked at the official Rockwell website, and called the district police liaison from the hallway. I kept my face neutral. Inside, old memory was unrolling with ugly precision. In the first life, the scam had spread through parent groups for days. By the time anyone admitted it was fake, several families had sent money they never fully recovered. Westbridge High had been one of the loudest schools hit because parents there loved shortcuts as long as they wore elite branding. This time, we had caught it before lunch. That mattered. I sent Ryan one message. I messaged, "If anyone at Westbridge High mentions Rockwell early admission, tell them to call the official website number, not the flyer number. Screenshot everything." Ryan answered in 12 seconds. Ryan Brooks messaged, does the admission come with a free fantasy certificate? I messaged, Ryan. Ryan Brooks messaged, fine, serious mode, sending. 3 minutes later, he sent the first screenshot. Ryan Brooks messaged, Madison posted. 1. My stomach tightened before I opened it. Madison had not posted the whole notice. Of course she had not. She posted the pretty part, the red seal, the congratulations line, and a caption about finally having a path that did not depend on people who wanted her to fail. Subtle as a brick through glass. Ryan warned her in the group chat. Ryan Brooks messaged, call the real Rockwell admissions number from the official website. Brookfield High just checked. The flyer number is fake. Brianna Wells answered before Madison did. Brianna Wells messaged, of course Logan says that. He cannot stand Madison getting good news without him. Ryan Brooks messaged, my dream is one day Westbridge High develops a second explanation besides jealousy. Brianna Wells messaged, you are only saying this because Logan told you to. Ryan Brooks messaged, correct. He is annoying and alive to scams. Madison finally typed. Madison Cole messaged, Ryan, please do not spread panic. My parents already confirmed with the office. Ryan sent me the screenshot with one comment. Ryan Brooks messaged, they called the flyer office. I looked across the classroom. Caleb was in the hallway, phone pressed to his ear, shoulders hunched while Ms. Anderson stood nearby. A boy who had been bragging 10 minutes ago now looked like a child trying to keep his parents from falling through a hole. I typed back. I messaged, tell Madison to call the official number on speaker. If she refuses, send the Brookfield High verification screenshot and stop arguing. Ryan Brooks messaged, she will say you are jealous. I messaged, then she can be scammed with confidence. That sounded colder than I felt. The old me would have wanted Madison to lose money. The old me had earned that bitterness honestly. But this was parents' savings, not just Madison's pride. This was families panicking in kitchens, fathers moving money between accounts, mothers whispering that maybe their child had one clean way out. Revenge was fun. Watching innocent people pay for a liar's arrogance was not. So Ryan sent the warning again, this time with the official number, the Rockwell website screenshot, and Ms. Anderson's classroom verification note. Westbridge High did what Westbridge High was becoming famous for doing. It argued with evidence. By noon, Brianna had called Ryan bitter, Madison had gone quiet, and Mr. Morrison had told Homeroom 204 not to spread unconfirmed fear. That phrase deserved a trophy for being wrong in 3 directions. Brookfield High, meanwhile, moved like a school that enjoyed not being sued. Dean Roberts sent an emergency notice to parent groups. Teachers called families directly. Ms. Anderson made every student with the flyer forward records to the office. The police arrived before afternoon self-study. 2 officers in plain dark jackets who looked tired in the professional way adults got tired when fraud decided to breed. They did not give us a lecture. They gave us 3 instructions. Keep records. Do not send more money. Use official numbers only. Simple. Human. Useful. One officer asked who first pushed the official number check. Ms. Anderson pointed at me. I lifted a hand. I am trying to be low-key. The officer looked at the classroom full of students staring at me, then at the open class video still pinned on the school forum. You are failing. He was correct. By late afternoon, the first real payoff arrived. Dean Roberts announced that because Brookfield High reported early, police and banks had frozen the receiving accounts fast enough to protect most of the money Brookfield High families had sent or were about to send. Caleb sat down like his bones had been removed. He covered his face with both hands. My mom was going to pay the second fee tonight, he said. No one laughed. Ms. Anderson put the notice on her desk. Then tonight, she does not. That line moved through the room quietly. It landed better than drama because it meant money stayed in a family's hands. Ryan's side got worse. He sent a voice message from somewhere noisy. Westbridge High parents are losing it. Some families already paid more than the first deposit. Morrison kept telling people not to panic, and now everyone is asking why Brookfield High warned parents before Westbridge High did. Another screenshot followed. A Westbridge High parent group had copied a police notice, and one line listed the first student source as Logan Miller. Because my transfer record had not fully cleaned itself out of every system, someone had tagged me with my old Westbridge High class before correcting it to Brookfield High. The parent group saw only the part they cared about. Logan Miller, formerly Westbridge High, reported early. Saved Brookfield High families. I did not need to imagine the rest. Ryan sent the photos. Parents crowded the Westbridge High office hallway. A woman in a beige coat held up her phone and asked why a student they had driven away was the one who knew to verify the scam. A man beside her demanded the homeroom teacher for homeroom 204. Someone else shouted that Brookfield High had frozen money in time while Westbridge High was still protecting its reputation. Then Ryan sent the best and worst message of the day. Ryan Brooks messaged, "They found Morrison." The attached photo was blurry, but the meaning was clear. Mr. Morrison stood inside the office door with his face arranged into professional concern. Parents packed the hallway with phones raised, asking why he had dismissed my work. For months, Westbridge High had wanted everyone to believe I was a problem they had generously released into the wild. Now their own parents were asking why the released problem had saved another school money. I looked at Caleb, still pale but safe from the second payment. I looked at Ms. Anderson collecting records from students. I looked at the Willow Lace dashboard flashing another order notification on my phone. One fake money trap had been stopped. The real money problem was still waiting for me. And across town, Westbridge High parents had just surrounded Mr. Morrison's office. While Westbridge High parents were turning Mr. Morrison's office into an unpaid customer service counter, Mason discovered that Willow Lace had created a new emergency all by itself. He found me before morning reading and shoved his phone under my face. "We cannot ship this," he said. That was Mason Cooper's version of a greeting now. "Some people said good morning." Mason arrived with operational despair. The dashboard had crossed a number that made my stomach perform a small illegal turn. Orders had jumped after Ryan's promotion, then jumped again after people realized the store actually delivered normal products with discreet packaging and no weird nonsense. Success was beautiful. Success also had teeth. "We need more inventory," Mason said, "and more packaging, and I need time to answer messages. You have class, I have customers, you have both, because senior year is a buffet of suffering." He gave me a flat look. "I can skip self-study." "No." "Then orders get delayed. Then we build a system." Mason looked personally offended by the word system. Former tough guys preferred problems they could glare at. The first bell rang. I walked into class with Mason behind me, both of us staring at the same ugly truth. The fake Rockwell scam had proved my future memory could protect people, but Willow Lace was proving memory did not pack boxes, print labels, answer customers, or buy stock. Ms. Anderson caught us before we reached our seats. "Why do both of you look like you committed accounting?" Mason turned silent. "Cowardice. Very disappointing from my best bud." "Teacher," I said, "I need to request controlled library computer access." Ms. Anderson looked at me. "For studying?" "Studying adjacent." Her expression sharpened. "Logan. A legal store. Non-explicit category. Proper customer service. No classroom disturbance. Also, Mason needs paid work and cannot skip class." Mason muttered, "You make it sound worse. I am making it sound printable." Ms. Anderson brought us to the office during break. She made me open the store dashboard, the product page, the customer templates, and the order list. Her face went through several stages. Teacher concern, adult recognition, professional recognition, professional regret that students were allowed to have internet access. Finally, she pressed 2 fingers to her forehead. "You kid, I accept that as a nuanced review. This is the business?" "Yes, and the products are exactly as described here? Comfort apparel, no explicit descriptions, no illegal items, no school names, no student photos, no nonsense?" "Correct." "And Mason is answering customers? With supervision?" Mason frowned. "I am sitting right here. That is why I said with supervision." Ms. Anderson stared at him until he looked away first. Efficient woman. Then she called Mr. Thompson from the science office. Mr. Thompson arrived with a stack of worksheets under one arm and the expression of a man who considered joy an optional elective. He listened for 30 seconds, looked at the order sheet and said, "Miller, your science comprehensive score has no right to be ignored while you run a store." "Teacher, I love how everyone supports my dreams." "Cooper," Mr. Thompson continued, "your math and physics are worse than his inventory planning." Mason looked wounded. "That feels personal. It is academic." Ms. Anderson folded her arms. "Here is the bargain. Library computer after lunch and after school. No customer messages during class. Mason works only after he completes assigned problems. Logan tutors him. Mr. Thompson checks the science work twice a week. If grades drop, the arrangement dies." Mason's head lifted. "Grades? You are a final year student," Ms. Anderson said. "Not a warehouse ghost." "That was the early micro payoff. We got the library access. The cost was that I had accidentally adopted a logistics employee with homework. Chloe heard about it before lunch because information in Brookfield High moved faster than disease." She blocked the library doorway with Grace Foster beside her and looked at Mason sitting in front of a physics worksheet and a pile of order slips. "Cooper," Chloe said, "are you studying?" Mason did not look up. "No." Mr. Thompson's worksheet sat under his elbow with 3 completed problems. Chloe leaned closer. "That paper says otherwise." "The paper is lying," Grace whispered to Emma. "This is the strangest romance side effect I have ever seen." Emma's face went pink. "It is not because of me." I looked up from the ledger. "Miss Blake, give yourself credit. Your seating chart influence has destroyed local delinquency." Mason threw an eraser at me. It missed! Best bud, I said sadly. Your aim reflects your physics. Mr. Thompson appeared in the doorway at exactly that moment. Mason picked up the eraser and returned to the worksheet like a man choosing life. The system worked for 6 hours. Then the inventory quote arrived. I had expected ugly. I had prepared for ugly. I had even cleared emotional space for ugly to sit down and introduce itself. The numbers still made my throat close. The supplier could hold the stock for 1 day. After that, the holiday batch would go to another buyer. If we failed to ship on time, refunds would eat the profit, customers would vanish, and Mason's new work would become a lesson in how hope could be mismanaged by a guy with good grades and insufficient cash. I tried every clean option first. Ryan had reach, not capital. Mason needed money, so asking him was a moral crime with a shipping label. My own savings and the order deposits covered only part of the stock. Slower purchasing would keep us safe and kill the opportunity. By evening, the ledger looked like a math problem designed by a villain. Emma sat across from me in the library, bracelet resting against her sleeve. Grace had dragged Chloe away before Chloe could offer consulting with no money and too much confidence. Mason was in the corner answering messages after completing his assigned problems, grumbling at every polite sentence like customer service personally insulted his ancestors. Emma looked at the ledger. How much is missing? Enough! Logan! I hated when she used my name like punctuation. It worked too well. I turned the notebook toward her. She read the number. Her eyes widened, but she did not flinch. Can the store really repay it? She asked. If the orders hold, yes. If I misjudge timing, no. If a supplier delays, also no. If I panic and make stupid promises, definitely no. You are not making stupid promises. I am one inspirational video away from becoming the exact kind of guy I hate. Emma went quiet. The words landed harder than I meant them to. I closed the ledger. Sorry. No, she said softly. Say it. So I did. I hate when people use trust as a ladder. Madison used mine. Westbridge High used my record. Dean Hayes used authority. I cannot take your money and call it romance. I will not do that. Emma reached into her bag. First, she took out a small bank envelope. These are my savings, she said. Miss Blake, listen first. My mouth closed. I closed my mouth, which hurt more than expected. I saved this from allowance and piano event money, she said. It is mine. I can lend it with a record. It is not enough. I know. Then she took out a card. The library seemed to lose sound. The card looked ordinary, and that made it frightening. Real money did not need to sparkle. It sat there, calm and heavy, like a quiet adult entering a room full of children playing shop. My father gave this to me for expenses, Emma said. The limit is high. How high? She told me. $300,000. The number did not feel like money. It felt like a cliff. Mason stopped typing in the corner. I kept my eyes on Emma. Looking away from her would have turned the moment into business. The trust in front of me was large enough to crush both of us if I held it wrong. No, I said. Emma's fingers tightened around the card. You have not heard my condition. Your condition cannot make this small. I do not want it small. That made me shut up. Emma looked scared. She also looked steady in a way people missed because they mistook quiet for empty. You repaid the gate money, she said. You wrote the debt down. You told me about the store when Chloe forced it into the open. You offered Mason work instead of pity. You reported the scam before people lost more. I am not lending money because you smiled at me. Her voice trembled once, then held. I am lending it because I trust what you do when money is dangerous. That was worse than a confession. A confession asked me to feel something. This asked me to become someone worthy of it. I pushed the card back toward her. If we do this, there is a ledger, written agreement, amount capped, every transfer recorded, supplier invoice attached, repayment schedule. Store revenue goes back to you first after wages and refunds. If your father asks, I do not hide behind you. Okay, Emma, your father will see the records. I know. He may think I used you. Her eyes flickered. That fear was already there. Then we keep proof that you did not, she said. The humor stayed dead. I opened a new ledger page and wrote the date, amount, purpose, repayment terms, and every condition in handwriting clear enough to survive an angry father. Emma watched each line. Mason came over only when I asked him to witness the inventory count. His face was serious. No jokes, no tough act. You sure? He asked Emma. Emma nodded. Mason signed his witness with handwriting that looked like it had fought a printer and lost. Then he went back to the computer and processed orders like his own family depended on the store staying alive. Because part of it did. The supplier payment went through that night. The business survived the inventory bottleneck. Nobody cheered. That was the strange part. When I ranked first in Chinese, everyone exploded. When the open class video went up, people chanted. When the store survived, the library stayed quiet. The only sounds were typing, the printer, Emma's pen, and Mason muttering customer names under his breath so he would not misspell them. Hope could be loud. Responsibility was usually paperwork. Over the next 2 days, Mason changed in a way that annoyed everyone who preferred simple labels. He came to the library during every break. He answered messages, printed packing lists, and finished Mr. Thompson's assigned problems before touching customer chat. When classmates asked whether he had been punished, he said, "Paid work," and kept walking. Chloe watched him through the library window one afternoon. "This is weird," she said. "Growth often is," I said. "Do not make it sound noble. It is Mason." Inside, Mason frowned at a physics problem, erased half his work, then tried again. Chloe's expression changed before she remembered to hide it. Grace, standing beside Emma, whispered, "He looks serious." "He is," Emma said. That answer had no T's in it. By the third day, Mr. Thompson checked Mason's worksheet and made a small grunt. Mason stiffened. "Wrong? Less wrong." Mason looked at me. "Is that praise from Mr. Thompson? That is a parade." Mr. Thompson gave me the worksheet next. "Miller, your own science corrections are incomplete." The parade ran me over. Ms. Anderson approved the library schedule for another week because nobody's grades had dropped, customers were being handled outside class, and Mason had stopped treating homework like an enemy gang. That should have been the end of the section of my life titled Business Stress with Educational Benefits. Then Ryan sent a message from Westbridge High. Ryan Brooks messaged, "Parents are still mad from Rockwell." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Morrison keeps saying you transferred voluntarily." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Dean Hayes says school records can clarify misunderstandings." I stared at that last line. Records, misunderstandings. The same polite words had come through my mother before. Now they were walking toward my door. My phone rang before I could answer Ryan. "Mom." I picked up immediately. "Logan," she said, keeping her voice low. "Dean Hayes and Mr. Morrison are downstairs." The library lights hummed above me. Emma's card record lay open in my ledger. Mason was packing order slips. Emma sat beside me, quiet and trusting, with 300,000 reasons for her father to hate my face if I failed her. Westbridge High had finally come to my home with my file, and for once, I had too much to lose to enjoy it properly. By the time I reached home, Westbridge High parents had already turned Mr. Morrison into a hallway exhibit titled, "Teacher Avoiding Consequences." Ryan sent the photos while I was still in the taxi. Parents packed the office corridor shoulder to shoulder. Phones were raised. Faces were red. Mr. Morrison stood near the door with his teacher, smile stretched so thin it could have been used as plastic wrap. Ryan Brooks messaged, "Someone asked why you saved Brookfield High families, but Westbridge High told people not to panic." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Morrison said you had already transferred and Westbridge High could not control your behavior." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Parent asked who made you transfer." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Silence achieved. Very rare species." For once, Westbridge High's favorite answer, "Logan Miller is someone else's problem," had walked back into the office with a crowd of angry parents attached. Then Ryan sent one more line. Ryan Brooks messaged, "Dean Hayes just left. Guess where?" I looked out the taxi window at the apartment gate ahead. "Yeah," I muttered. "I have a guess." Dean Hayes called it a visit. Adults loved soft words. A threat became guidance, panic became concern, and reputation surgery arrived at our apartment wearing shoe covers. When I opened our apartment door, my mother stood near the kitchen, tense but steady. My father sat on the sofa with his work jacket still on. Across from him were Dean Hayes and Mr. Morrison, both holding paper folders like those folders had not been sharpened on the way over. Dean Hayes looked at me first. "Logan," he said, voice polished, "we came to clarify some misunderstandings." I changed shoes slowly. "Interesting. Last time Westbridge High clarified something, I lost a school." Mr. Morrison's mouth tightened. My father looked at me. "Sit down first." That was Dad's way of saying, "Do not open with a bomb before I know where the windows are." I sat beside him. Before Dean Hayes could open the folder, I sent Ryan one message under the table. "Stay awake. If I ask, send the parent office photos again." Ryan Brooks messaged, "I live for unpaid labor." I left the chat open beside my screenshots. No recording lecture, no legal drama. My parents were witnesses, and Ryan held the paper trail. Dean Hayes placed the file on my coffee table. "The recent scam incident has caused some parents to ask emotional questions. They misunderstand the circumstances of your transfer." "They asked why I was not at Westbridge High when the warning came," I said. "You had already chosen Brookfield High." My mother folded her hands. Did he choose, or was he told his future was finished unless he withdrew? The room went quiet. I looked at Mom. She did not look back. She kept her eyes on Dean Hayes. That hit harder than I expected. In the old life, she had been exhausted by shame. In this life, she had facts and did not plan to set them aside for anybody's furniture. Dean Hayes's face stayed controlled. Mrs. Miller, discipline conversations can sound severe when emotions are high. My father leaned forward. Then why did you come here after parents got angry? Dad had found the window and opened it himself. Mr. Morrison tried to recover. We care about Logan's future. Westbridge High does not want any record language to affect him unfairly. That is new, I said. Logan, Morrison said, using the old teacher voice, you should understand that schools need face too. I understand face, I said. Westbridge High deleted its praise post after learning I wrote exit pass, then someone floated that I copied it. Then you tried to use Madison and Ryan to make me stop posting. Then Westbridge High ignored a scam warning because calling me jealous was easier. Morrison's face changed at Ryan's name. I did not mention the $60. Not yet. Some evidence was a knife. You did not wave every knife during the appetizer. Dean Hayes tapped the folder. This is exactly why we need a calm solution. If Westbridge High posts a clarification that your transfer was normal and that both schools are cooperating, parents will stop asking hostile questions. You can focus on your SAT. We can also make sure your file contains no negative language. They had not come to command me. They had come to ask me to help them look innocent. I almost smiled. Almost. Then I remembered my mother sitting across from the same school that had once made her lower her head, and the smile died before it earned rent. No, I said. Dean Hayes's eyes narrowed. No? A vague cooperation statement will not work. Neither will normal transfer or pretending both schools handled this well. Mr. Morrison's voice sharpened. Then what do you want? That sentence was worth framing. Westbridge High had finally asked what I wanted. I took out my phone and opened the folder where I kept screenshots. Madison's first message. Westbridge High's deleted praise. The Brookfield High repost. The open class video. Ryan's scam warning screenshots. I placed the phone on the table, screen up, so my parents could see every item as I named it. Public correction, I said. Westbridge High states that I did not copy exit pass, that the earlier deletion created misunderstanding, and that my transfer record will not include discipline language from the Tyler incident. Dean Hayes went very still. I continued. Tyler Hayes's role gets addressed properly, not hidden under student conflict, not washed because he is your son. My father looked at Dean Hayes. Dean Hayes's jaw tightened. Careful, he said. I am being careful. That is why I am using names in my own living room and not on the school forum. My mother inhaled, but she did not stop me. And Mr. Morrison apologizes, I said. Morrison gave a short laugh. For what, exactly? For demanding self-reflection while setting aside facts, for letting Madison's tears outrank my messages, for trying to recover the value of my novel after Westbridge High threw away the student who wrote it. For a second, no one spoke. Then my father said, "Those demands sound reasonable." Mr. Morrison looked at him like he had discovered a second Logan in adult form. Dean Hayes closed the folder. You are asking Westbridge High to embarrass itself. No, I said. Westbridge High did that. I am asking for a receipt. Westbridge High had come to our home, placed my file on our table, and realized the discarded student now had terms. I did not have to shout, beg, or slam an office door to make them hear those terms. Dean Hayes did not accept them. People like him treated accountability like a contagious disease. But he did leave with a different face than the one he brought in. Before he stood, he said, if you turn school honor into personal revenge, board leaders will not admire it forever. Then I guess Westbridge High should stop giving me material. My mother made a tiny sound that might have been a cough, or might have been her trying not to laugh. Dad looked at the floor. The adults from Westbridge High pretended not to notice. After they left, the apartment stayed quiet. My mother touched the phone screen where Madison's old message still sat. You kept everything, she said. I learned from professionals. She looked at me then. Are you tired? That question landed under the ribs. A little, I said. Dad put the folder Dean Hayes had forgotten to close back into its neat stack. Good. Tired people should still eat. So we ate noodles at our small kitchen table while Westbridge High tried to decide how much honesty it could survive. The next morning, Madison waited near the bus stop. I knew before she spoke that this was not an apology. Apologies faced facts. Madison faced angles. She wore the soft expression again, the one that had made the old me feel chosen and made the new me check for traps. Logan, she said, can we talk? Several students slowed down. Westbridge High gossip had legs. Brookfield High gossip had wings. A bus stop between them was a public square with wheels. You are talking, I said. Her fingers tightened around her bag strap. My parents are upset because of the scam. Everyone is upset. I should have checked the official number. I know that now. Then start there. She waited for more warmth. I had left it at home in a sealed container. I wanted to invite you to dinner, she said. My family is doing a small Christmas meal. We can explain things properly, like before. Again with like before. The phrase had survived several disasters and learned nothing. Madison, I said, before was the problem. Her eyes brightened. She did not cry yet. She prepared the room for crying. Do you hate me that much? No. That startled her more than anger would have. I just do not belong to your emergencies anymore. The bus pulled in. A few students near the door went silent. I am sorry, she whispered. Then keep being sorry after people stop watching. I got on the bus. Behind me, her silence did what her tears could not. It told the truth. Westbridge High posted its statement that afternoon. It was a masterpiece of saying almost nothing with official punctuation. The school claimed it valued every student's growth, regretted online misunderstandings, respected normal transfer decisions, and would continue strengthening anti-fraud education. Tyler was not named. Morrison was not named. The deleted exit pass praise was not named. My file was wrapped in fog so thick it deserved weather warnings. I read it once. Then I opened exit pass. The new chapter was about a school that painted over a crack in the wall while rain poured through the ceiling. I used no names, kept the legal distance clean, and wrote one very familiar teacher telling a student to mop faster so visitors would not see the leak. Mr. Whitman read it before posting and removed one sentence. That sentence is too close, he said. To truth? To a lawsuit? Educational detail. Survival detail. He let the chapter go up. Brookfield High students understood immediately. Westbridge High complained within an hour that I was using literature to damage school honor, which was rich from people who had tried to use my literature after deleting it. The board noticed too. Ms. Anderson brought the notice to class after lunch. The literature and talent showcase has been added to the demonstration school review visit. Board representatives will attend. Westbridge High has been asked to send representatives as well. The class erupted. Chloe turned around. You are performing! I am being academically persecuted through extracurriculars, Grace whispered. Emma is playing piano, right? Emma's hand tightened around her pen. I looked at Ms. Anderson. Teacher, what am I doing? Mr. Whitman submitted your name for a short literature presentation. I exhaled. And the arts representative saw you doing card tricks for Ryan during lunch last week, so you are also listed for a magic act. The class turned toward me as one body. I stared at her. That was a private crime. Then stop committing crimes in public spaces. Fine, magic, literature, board leaders, Westbridge High representatives. Only my life would turn revenge into a variety show. The stage should have been hope. For about 6 hours, it was. Then Tyler Hayes learned enough to become useful to his own downfall. The first rumor appeared in a Westbridge High chat, then crossed into Brookfield High through someone who loved chaos more than sleep. Logan Miller was using Emma Blake's money. Logan Miller was running a shameful product store. Logan Miller had traded Madison for a richer girl. Madison did not post it first. She was smarter than that. Ryan sent me the screenshots in order. Tyler pushed the first dirty version. Brianna amplified it. Madison entered later with soft worry, saying she hoped I had not changed into someone who used people. That was her favorite weapon, stab with someone else's hand, then bring bandages for the audience. I looked across the library at Emma. She had not seen the screenshots yet. The ledger lay between us, clean and honest and suddenly vulnerable. My phone buzzed again. Ryan Brooks messaged, "Bad news." Ryan Brooks messaged, "Someone sent it to a parent group." Emma's phone lit up on the table. She looked at the screen. Her face went pale. "My father," she said. The final trap had found the money trail. The rumor said I had drained Emma Blake's family money to sell intimate apparel online, which was almost impressive as a lie because it used 2 real facts and beat them with a shovel. Fact 1, Emma had lent me money. Fact 2, Willow Lace existed. The lie was everything Tyler and Madison wrapped around those facts, the dirty little bow that made me look like the kind of person I had spent 2 lifetimes hating. Emma's father came to Brookfield High the next afternoon. He did not storm in. That made it worse. Angry men announced themselves. Serious men signed in at the office, waited in the reception room, and let silence build furniture. Ms. Anderson found me outside the library. "Logan," she said, and her voice had no joke space in it. "Emma's father is here." Emma stood beside her, pale but upright. The bracelet was on her wrist. Her hands were folded so tightly her knuckles looked white. I closed the Willow Lace dashboard on the library computer. Mason looked up from a packing list. "Problem?" "Yes." He stood immediately. "Stay," I said. Mason's jaw worked. "If this is about the store, I witnessed." "I know. I may need you later. Right now, too many boys in a room with a protective father sound like a headline." He sat back down, unhappy but obedient. Growth, still rude. Ms. Anderson led us to a small meeting room near the office. Emma's father stood when we entered. He wore a dark coat, simple watch, no visible anger. That was how I knew he had brought enough. Logan Miller, he said. Mr. Blake. Using the name felt like stepping onto thin ice. Until that moment, he had been Emma's father in my head. In person, he became Mr. Blake because some adults arrive with their own punctuation. He looked at Emma first. Sit. Emma sat. I stayed standing until he looked at me. You too. I sat across from him. Ms. Anderson remained by the door, not interfering, not leaving Emma alone with the whole weight of this. Mr. Blake placed a bank statement on the table with no dramatic slam and no raised voice. Paper did enough damage by itself. That was worse. My daughter's card was used for a supplier payment, he said. A large one. Yes, the school rumor says you persuaded her to fund an online store selling inappropriate products. The word inappropriate landed cleanly and coldly. Humor stopped. The store is legal, I said. The product pages are non-explicit, comfort apparel, clean descriptions, discreet shipping. But yes, I accepted money from Emma for inventory. Emma's father watched me. Why? There were many ways to answer that badly. Because the market was hot. Because future memory said the timing mattered. Because the supplier would not hold inventory. All true, all useless if I skipped the one thing that mattered. Because I was short, I said. Because she offered. Because I thought a ledger made the risk acceptable. And because I should have asked to speak with you before accepting access to that card. Emma's eyes moved to me. Mr. Blake did not soften. Show me. I opened my folder. Supplier quote. Invoice. Transfer amount. Order dashboard. Customer records with private details covered. Wage notes for Mason. Repayment schedule. Emma's savings listed separately. Card amount capped to the supplier gap. The $300,000 limit clearly unused beyond that invoice. I had made the ledger to survive an angry father. Now it had to do exactly that. Mr. Blake read every page. He asked practical questions. How many orders? What refund rate? What supplier? What shipping delay? What was already repaid? What amount remained? What happens if sales collapse? I answered all of them with plain numbers, plain records, and no magic second life confidence. Emma sat beside me, breathing carefully. Finally, her father looked up. You are good with records. I learned from people who were bad with facts. Ms. Anderson's eyes flicked toward me. Right, minimal jokes. I put my mouth back on a leash. Mr. Blake turned to Emma. Did he pressure you? Emma's fingers tightened around the bracelet. No. Did he ask for the card? No, I offered. Why? The room went very still. This was where Emma could hide behind me. This was where I wanted to protect her from having to explain her own trust like a defendant. She did not hide. Because I trusted him, she said. Her voice was soft, but the words did not bend. Emma, her father said. He repaid the gate money when he promised. He wrote every debt down. He told me about the store when it was embarrassing. He helped Mason earn money instead of making fun of him. He warned everyone about Rockwell even when Madison mocked him. She looked at me once, then back at her father. And when people laughed at me, he stood beside me first. That sentence did something to the room. I had defended her before, bought water, asked for apology notes, held her hand in a theater, written ledgers like a terrified accountant with romantic damage. But hearing her name, it made the whole thing heavier. Mr. Blake leaned back. Trust does not erase risk, he said. I know, Emma answered. You should have called me. I know. He looked at me again. You should have refused until I was told. Yes. Pride hated that answer. Honesty needed it. Mr. Blake gathered the papers, then pushed them back toward me. You will repay the card amount by the date written here. I will. You will send weekly records to Emma and to me. Yes. You will not take another dollar from her without speaking to me first. Agreed. And if the rumor spreads further, you will not let my daughter stand alone in it. That one was not a business term. I looked at Emma. I won't. Mr. Blake's face remained stern. I am not blessing this store. I did not expect a ribbon. Emma made the smallest sound. Her father looked at me for one long second. Then, very reluctantly, he said, You may keep the performance schedule. Emma will play at the showcase. Emma's shoulders loosened. Mr. Blake's private answer to the smear became a deadline, a witness, and a chance. I would take that over fake approval every time. The showcase swallowed the rest of the week. Brookfield High turned into a building with stage fright. Mr. Whitman revised the literature order. Ms. Anderson guarded rehearsal time like a border officer. The arts committee taped schedules on every wall. Emma practiced piano in the music room until even students who used to gossip about her started lowering their voices outside the door. My assignment was a short magic act before the literature presentation. Apparently, the only legal way to make Westbridge High disappear was misdirection and stage lighting. Mr. Whitman did not laugh when I said that. Do not make anyone disappear, he said. Make them look at the right thing. That was better advice than he knew. The act was simple. 3 cards, 1 envelope, 1 visible mistake, 1 reveal. Nothing grand. I was not trying to become a magician. I was building a metaphor with sleeves and saving the explanation for the stage. Ryan sent the old screenshots again, cleaner this time. Madison's first message. Her later friend request. The Westbridge High group mocking his scam warning. Brianna's jealousy accusation. Tyler's new rumor. Ryan also sent a voice note. Ryan Brooks messaged, I have officially become your evidence delivery service. Please rate 5 stars. I messaged, 4, packaging is messy. Ryan Brooks messaged, betrayal. Chloe, for once, did not treat the situation like a stage for herself. She found Emma outside the music room and said, I heard people repeating the money thing. Emma held her sheet music. I know, it was ugly. I know. Chloe looked uncomfortable in a way that made her seem younger. I used to repeat things too fast. Emma waited. I can help stop it, Chloe said. The apology was imperfect. It was useful. Emma nodded. Then stop it. Chloe did. She corrected 2 classmates before lunch and embarrassed a third by asking whether his source was Tyler Hayes or his imagination. For Chloe, that was community service with eyeliner. Mason kept studying and working between rehearsals. He had become alarmingly reliable, which made everyone suspicious. When Grace asked if he had been replaced by a better version, Mason said, paid work, and kept taping boxes. Hope was there. So was the trap. Tyler waited near the side entrance of the auditorium on rehearsal evening. He stood with 2 Westbridge High boys I recognized from the old gravitational field of trouble. Madison was a few steps behind them, wearing worry like a scarf. She did not speak first. She had learned to let other people dirty their hands. I saw them before they saw me. So did Mason. He was carrying a box of stage props and order slips because my life had become a cross-department accident. He stopped beside me. Want me to call Ms. Anderson? Not yet. Want me to hit him? Absolutely not. I asked for politeness. Your politeness needs supervision. Chloe came around the corner with her phone already in her hand. Are we recording? Only if they start, I said. Tyler saw us and smiled. Miller, he called. Busy selling Emma's money? Mason's shoulders tensed. My hands stayed open at my sides. Tyler, I said, still borrowing your father's authority? His smile twitched. One of the boys laughed under his breath. Tyler did not like that. You think you're clever because you found a rich girl to fund you, Tyler said. Madison said you always needed a girl to feel important. Madison looked down, using silence as useful cowardice. Madison says a lot when someone else can be blamed for it, I said, her head lifted. Tyler stepped closer. Say that again. I stayed still. Madison says a lot when someone else can be blamed for it. His hand came up. He wanted me to flinch. Better, he wanted me to grab him. Best, he wanted one messy second where Dean Hayes could say Logan Miller had not changed. Old me would have given him exactly what he ordered. New me looked past his shoulder. Security camera above the door, I said. Chloe's phone on your left, Mason's phone on your right. Ms. Anderson coming down the hall behind you in about 3 seconds because Mason has finally learned to text adults instead of collecting outside boys. Tyler turned. Ms. Anderson was already there. So was a venue security guard. Mason held up his phone, face blank. Best buds report danger. I hated that the lying worked. Tyler lowered his hand. The guard stepped between us. Problem? He was leaving, I said. Tyler glared at me, then at Mason, then at Chloe's phone. For the first time since I had known him, he had no clean way to make violence look like someone else's fault. Tyler Hayes had come to make me swing. He left on camera. Madison stayed a second longer. Her eyes were wet, but the old performance had cracks in it now. You really hate me, she said quietly. No, I said. I finally stopped auditioning for you. Her mouth tightened. People will believe you used Emma because you always needed someone, she said. First me, now her. Ryan's voice came from Mason's phone on speaker. My evidence delivery service had upgraded itself to live commentary. That is hilarious, Ryan said. I still have the message where you asked him to come save you. Madison went still. Ryan continued. Also the friend request. Also the scam chat where Brianna called him jealous and then your admission thing turned fake. Also your bus stop dinner invite because somebody recorded the public part. I am not saying I am a professional. I am saying pay me like one, Chloe whispered. Ryan is terrifying when useful. Madison looked from the phone to me. For once, she did not have a soft answer ready. Save your speech for the stage, I said. You would embarrass me in front of everyone? No, I said. You did that. I am bringing subtitles. Ms. Anderson said my name in the teacher tone. Right, I said. Too much. Accurate, she said. Still too much. Madison left with Tyler and the two boys, but the damage stayed behind in the useful form, video, witnesses, and proof that Tyler still wanted the old trap. That night, the final pieces clicked into place. Mr. Whitman approved the literature order. Emma rehearsed the piano piece once with the stage lights half on, her hands steady by the second page. Mason sent me a photo of finished order batches and a second photo of his physics worksheet, because character development now came with attachments. Chloe forwarded a list of who had repeated Tyler's rumor and who had corrected it. Ryan sent the clean screenshot folder with file names so organized I briefly wondered if fear had made him mature. Then Director Marshall's office confirmed the next day's attendance list. Board representatives, Brookfield High teachers, Westbridge High representatives, parent observers, Emma's father, Tyler, Madison, Mr. Morrison, Dean Hayes. Everyone who needed the old story to survive would be sitting under the same lights. I stood backstage the next afternoon with 3 cards in my hand, 1 envelope in my pocket, and every fact arranged where it belonged. Emma waited near the piano bench, pale but upright. Mason stood near the side aisle with Chloe, both pretending they were not guarding the recording angles. Ryan had somehow secured a seat with the parent observers and sent one final text. Ryan Brooks messaged, "If you mess this up, I am charging overtime." I looked toward the front row. Dean Hayes sat beside Mr. Morrison. Tyler leaned back like he owned the air. Madison sat with her hands folded, face soft, ready to become a victim if the room allowed it. The stage manager lifted a hand. Lights warmed the curtain. The board-watched showcase began. The stage lights came up, and every person who needed the old Logan Miller had front row access. I could feel the old trap from the curtain line, Tyler waiting for my fists, Madison waiting for sympathy, Mr. Morrison waiting for fog, and Dean Hayes waiting for one mistake he could file. Emma stood near the piano. Mason, Chloe, and Ryan held the angles and screenshots. That made this stage safer than any office Westbridge High had ever owned. I walked to the center of the stage with 3 cards in one hand and 1 envelope in the other. My hands stayed visible. That mattered more than the trick. "Good afternoon," I said. I was told to keep this short, educational, and not personally dangerous to any school's blood pressure. Ms. Anderson closed her eyes. Mr. Whitman made a small movement like he wanted to walk into traffic. Director Marshall, sitting in the front row with the board representatives, smiled once. That counted as permission. I held up the 3 cards. "This is a simple trick about attention." The cards had 3 words on them. Rumor, face, fact. "Most people think magic is hiding the truth," I said. "It is not. It is persuading people to stare at the wrong truth." I placed rumor in the middle, face on the left, fact on the right. Then I made the audience follow rumor. I turned it over, moved it once, let the card slip under my palm, and made one deliberately clumsy mistake. The room shifted when people thought they had caught me. That was the useful part of a trick. People loved catching the obvious mistake. It made them stop looking for the real one. I opened the envelope. Fact was inside. Rumor was still on the table, exactly where I had left it. The students clapped first because students respected 2 things, free entertainment and a teacher not yet stopping it. I bowed slightly. That is misdirection. Someone gives you a visible mistake, a loud rumor, or a crying face, and while you watch that, the fact quietly leaves the table. The applause faded. I looked at Mr. Morrison. "My former homeroom teacher once taught me a valuable sentence," I said. He said, setting aside the facts, my attitude was the biggest issue. A small sound moved through the Brookfield High rows. Ryan's head dropped. I knew he was laughing. I asked if setting aside facts could also make me the emperor, I said. It did not. Tragic. But the sentence stayed with me. Mr. Morrison's fingers tightened around the program. Exit Pass is a story about students trying to keep their future when adults keep telling them which facts are convenient. The final chapter is not about revenge. It is about attention. What do you watch? The rumor, the face, or the fact? Mr. Whitman looked less like he wanted to die. That counted as progress by teacher standards. I picked up the envelope again. Before I talk about the school story, I need to clear one rumor that used a real person who did not deserve it. Emma's head lifted. The humor stopped there. Emma Blake lent me money for inventory for a legal online store. I accepted it. That was my decision and my responsibility. The public rumor turned her into a joke, a wallet, and a dirty headline. None of those things are true. The room went very quiet. Tyler shifted in his seat. Madison looked at me fast, then looked away. I kept product categories and private customer details off the screen. One covered ledger page went onto the projector, exactly the way Mr. Blake had seen it. It showed the supplier, quote, invoice, transfer amount, repayment schedule, and covered customer data. It also showed Emma's savings separated from her father's card record, with the amount capped to the supplier gap. The store revenue goes to wages, refunds, shipping, and repayment before I take profit, I said. Mason Cooper witnessed the inventory count. Mr. Blake reviewed these records before Emma stayed in today's showcase. He did not smile. I respected him for that. A smiling, protective father would have been more frightening. I reviewed the records, he said. My daughter was not deceived. The debt is documented. Logan Miller is under a repayment deadline. Then he sat down, short, stern, deadly to gossip. Emma held her sheet music tighter, but her shoulders were straighter now. That is the fact, I said. Anyone who wants to keep spreading the other version should at least admit they prefer the rumor. Chloe looked toward the Brookfield High rows. Several people suddenly became fascinated by their shoes. Then Madison stood. If attention was a stage, Madison Cole had never believed anyone else owned the floor. Logan, she said, voice trembling just enough. Why are you doing this here? You keep saying facts, but you are humiliating people who cared about you. The face card was trying to climb back on top. Who cared about me? I asked. Her eyes reddened. I did. Before you changed. Before you started using everything to punish me. Tyler turned his head, watching me like he hoped I would finally give him something physical to work with. I kept my hands on the table. Madison, I said, on the day Tyler blocked you in class, did you send me a message asking for help? Her mouth opened. No answer came out. I nodded to the projector. The first screenshot appeared with private numbers covered. Madison's message, her timestamp. My reply. The context that had sent me toward Tyler in the first life and nearly trapped me in the second. This came from my phone, I said. My mother saw it that day. Mr. Morrison saw it too. Mrs. Miller sat in the parent row with both hands in her lap. She did not stand. She did not need to. She looked at Madison with the calm of a woman who had already cried once and decided not to donate more tears. Madison whispered, I was scared. You were, I said. That part can be true. Then in the office, when I was asked why I approached Tyler, you said I had followed you on my own. Her lips trembled. I did not know it would become that serious. That was the first crack. It fell short of apology and courage, but the room heard the shape of the lie. The room heard it. Director Marshall's pen moved across his notes. I clicked once. The screen changed. Madison's later friend request, the bus stop dinner invitation. The message pattern Ryan had cleaned and labeled with the passion of a man who finally found a hobby that paid in chaos. After I transferred and Brookfield High reposted Exit Pass, Madison tried to contact me again. After the board video, she tried again. After the scam warning proved true, she tried again. Last night, after Tyler's rumor about Emma's money, she said people would believe I used Emma because I always needed someone. Madison's face went white. Ryan raised one hand from the parent section like a student asking permission to go to the restroom. Director Marshall looked at him. You have something relevant? Yes, sir, Ryan said, standing. I sent the screenshot folder. I was in Westbridge High Homeroom 204. I also received messages from Mr. Morrison asking me to persuade Logan to let Westbridge High clarify the novel issue quietly. Mr. Morrison stood halfway. That is not an accurate description. Ryan blinked at him. Teacher, you sent me $60. The auditorium made a sound I can only describe as collective choking with education. Ryan added, I still had the transfer record, for evidence, also guilt, mostly evidence. Ms. Anderson pressed 2 fingers to the bridge of her nose. I loved loyal people. I especially loved loyal people with screenshots and poor spending ethics. Director Marshall turned to Mr. Morrison. Sit down for now. Mr. Morrison sat. He looked smaller than he had in my old classroom. Madison stared at Ryan, then at me. Her tears were real now, but real tears did not automatically mean real innocence. You promised you liked me, she said. The old me would have bled over that sentence. The new me only felt tired. I did, I said. That was my mistake. Your mistake was thinking my feelings were a public resource. No one clapped. That was right. That line was not for clapping. Tyler shoved his chair back. Enough, he said. You are blaming her because you got rejected. The security guard near the aisle straightened. Mason shifted once, ready but still. Chloe lifted her phone. I looked at Tyler's hands, then I looked at mine. Still open. Tyler Hayes, I said, you have tried very hard to make this story about whether I will hit you. Because you want to, Tyler snapped. Probably, I said. The honesty landed harder than a heroic denial. I let the room sit with it for one breath. But wanting to hit someone and choosing not to are different facts. The side entrance clip appeared next. Chloe's angle first, shaky but clear. Tyler stepping closer. Tyler raising his hand. My voice pointing out the camera. Mason's phone. Ms. Anderson arriving. The security guard stepping between us. Tyler leaving. Then Mason's angle. Less pretty, more useful. Mason had recorded like a man filming evidence, not content. His thumb did not cover the lens. Disturbing competence, but welcome. Tyler's face changed as the clip played. Dean Hayes stood. "This is a private student conflict being exaggerated." Director Marshall did not look at me. He looked at Dean Hayes. "Dean Hayes," he said, "Tyler Hayes is your son." Dean Hayes' jaw tightened. "Yes." "And you were involved in Logan Miller's original discipline handling at Westbridge High?" Dean Hayes said nothing. That was an answer with better shoes. Mrs. Miller finally stood. Her voice was steady. "Dean Hayes told us Logan could write a self-reflection or leave Westbridge High. Tyler Hayes' role was not handled as a protected conflict. It was handled as my son's fault." My father stood beside her. "We were there. We heard it." Dean Hayes' face darkened. "Parents are emotional about their children." Director Marshall's pen stopped. "So are Dean's," he said. The front row froze. The line landed worse than a shout. An adult with authority had named the obvious in a room full of people trained to pretend obvious things were complicated. Dean Hayes sat down slowly. Tyler looked at his father for rescue. For once, rescue did not arrive. I clicked again. The next slide was not Tyler. It was the timeline. Education account praises exit pass. Westbridge High reposts it. Westbridge High deletes it after learning the author is Logan Miller. Westbridge High group chat claims the work may have been copied. Mr. Morrison asks Ryan and Madison to persuade Logan to let Westbridge High clarify. Brookfield High open class confirms the author publicly. Westbridge High posts a vague statement that names no one and corrects nothing. Clean, boring, lethal. Mr. Morrison said he protected studies, I said. Dean Hayes said this was discipline. Westbridge High's public statement said it respected normal transfers. Those are all face cards. The fact card is simpler. Westbridge High wanted my confession when I was a problem. Westbridge High wanted my novel when I became useful. Mr. Morrison's voice cracked. "I was trying to keep order. Senior year cannot become a theater for personal grievances." "Teacher," I said, and for once I used the word without sarcasm, "you made it theater when you asked a student to apologize after seeing the message that proved why he stepped forward." He flinched. "You made it theater when Westbridge High deleted the praise instead of admitting the author transferred. You made it theater when you treated Ryan's warning about Rockwell as jealousy and Brookfield High protected families faster than Westbridge High did. I am only choosing better lighting." Ryan whispered loudly, "Stagecraft." Someone near the back laughed and then swallowed it. Director Marshall looked toward the Westbridge High representatives. "The review team will record this. Before the visit closes, Westbridge High will submit a written correction." He did not look away. "It will address Logan Miller's transfer record, the exit pass deletion, and the handling of Tyler Hayes' conflict of interest. Dean Hayes should not participate in any review involving his son or Logan Miller. Mr. Morrison's senior teacher recommendation should be held until the investigation is complete." The words landed one by one: written correction, transfer record, deletion, conflict of interest, recommendation held. The room got official language instead of fireworks, and somehow that was worse. The right words finally stepped on the right people's feet. Tyler stood again. "You cannot do that because of a stupid performance." The security guard moved closer. Director Marshall did not raise his voice. "Sit down." Tyler looked at Dean Hayes. Dean Hayes did not move. Tyler sat. That was when I knew the old script had broken. Madison had cried. Morrison had gone pale. Director Marshall had spoken, but the real fracture came when Tyler Hayes looked for protection and found an empty chair wearing his father's face. I should have enjoyed it more. Then I looked at Emma. She was still near the piano, sheet music held against her chest, bracelet bright on her wrist. The room had cleared my name, but the rumor had touched her. It had put her money, her father, her trust, and her dignity under public light. Revenge felt clean only from a distance. Up close, it had people standing in it. I stepped away from the projector. "Emma," I said, quieter. She looked at me. "You do not have to say anything." For a second, I thought she would nod and sit at the piano. That would have been fair, more than fair. She had already done enough. Instead, Emma walked to the center of the stage. The auditorium changed around her. Even the students who used to whisper about her glasses and her quiet voice seemed to understand they were watching someone decide how visible she wanted to be. Emma stood beside me, not behind me. "Small detail, huge difference." She faced the audience. "I lent Logan money," she said. Her voice shook on my name, then steadied. "I was afraid after people started talking. I was afraid my father would be angry. I was afraid people would think I was stupid." No one moved. The joke space was gone, exactly as it should be. Emma touched the bracelet once, then let her hand fall. But I was not tricked. I chose. Logan wrote down every debt, repaid what he promised before, protected me when people laughed, helped Mason instead of using him, and warned people about Rockwell even when Westbridge High mocked him. Her father watched her with a face that had no softness in it until you knew where to look. I was learning. Emma turned toward Madison. And I am not a replacement. Madison's mouth parted. Emma looked back at the room. I am Emma Blake. I play piano. I study at Brookfield High. I made a lending decision with a ledger and a deadline. If anyone wants to laugh at me, at least use my real name. Silence. Then Chloe started clapping. That was Chloe. Timing, confidence, and a long unpaid debt to Emma's dignity. Mason clapped next, awkward and loud. Ryan joined from the parent section like a man trying to clap his way out of future labor. Brookfield High students followed, then parents, then even a few teachers who probably knew they were not supposed to show preference but had hands and feelings anyway. Emma exhaled. I did not touch her on stage. Not yet. She had chosen visibility for herself. I was not going to turn it into my trophy. She walked to the piano. The next part of the showcase was supposed to be a transition. It became the answer. Emma sat, adjusted the bench, and placed her hands on the keys. The first notes were a little tight, then her shoulders settled. The piece opened up, soft at first, then clearer, then strong enough that the auditorium forgot to be hungry for scandal. I stood near the side curtain and listened. In my old life, I had spent years remembering the girl everyone overlooked because she became brilliant after I had already ruined myself. In this life, I had found her before the applause. I had seen the glasses, the nervous hands, the careful savings, the way she believed in ledgers and second chances with a courage that did not know how pretty it was. I had thought I was choosing a future. Somewhere along the way, I chose the present. When the last note faded, Emma's hands stayed on the keys for 1 second too long. Then she stood. The applause came again, fuller this time. Director Marshall stood with it. So did Dean Roberts. Mr. Blake clapped 3 times. Exactly 3. Stern fathers had brand consistency. Emma looked at me from the piano. I smiled. The smile had no blade in it. It was just hers. The aftermath arrived through forms, stamps, meetings, and adults pretending fairness had always been the plan. Westbridge High posted the correction the next morning. Exit Pass was my original work. The deleted repost had caused misunderstanding. My transfer record would not carry discipline language from the Tyler Hayes incident, and the school would review conflict of interest handling in student discipline. The wording still wore a tie and tried to look harmless. Parents read between the lines anyway. Tyler entered formal disciplinary review, and his athletic recommendation was suspended pending the outcome. Dean Hayes was removed from the review group tied to student discipline and the demonstration school culture file. Mr. Morrison's senior teacher applications stopped moving. Bureaucracy had finally found a way to say, please enjoy the consequences of setting aside facts. Ryan sent me the screenshot of Westbridge High's correction with one message. Ryan Brooks messaged, Emperor Logan, your decree arrived. I messaged, setting aside facts, I prefer your majesty. Ryan Brooks messaged, pay me first. Some friendships survived only because distance protected them from being strangled. Madison tried one final soft lighting act. Screenshots kept circulating, and Westbridge High Homeroom 204 stopped treating her tears as automatic evidence. Brianna found new topics. Tyler, busy with his own review, stopped standing beside her like a borrowed wall. Madison Cole messaged, are you happy now? I deleted the chat request without answering. Mercy had nothing to do with it. I was graduating from a class I should never have enrolled in. Willow Lace survived the holiday rush with tape, printer ink, and Mason Cooper arguing politely with customers like every dear customer cost him a piece of his soul. The first large revenue settlement went to Emma's ledger. The next went to wages, refunds, and the remaining card balance. By the repayment deadline, Mr. Blake's card was cleared. I sent him the receipt. Mr. Blake replied, received. Mr. Blake replied, continue weekly records until SAT. Emma read the message and laughed into her sleeve. My father likes records, she said. Miss Blake, I said, your family expresses affection through audits. You express affection through ledgers too. That was unfair because it was accurate. Mason passed the scoreline Mr. Thompson had set for him and acted like he had personally invented studying. Chloe congratulated him and pretended not to care. Ryan did not transfer to Brookfield High. He did something more shocking and studied for 40 minutes in one sitting. Ms. Anderson replied to his proof with 3 words. Ms. Anderson replied, more, tomorrow, again. Teacher cruelty remained academically universal. Brookfield High's demonstration school culture review rose. The official praise mentioned literature development, student initiative, anti-fraud response, balanced discipline, and public performance quality. It skipped the part where half the review became a live autopsy of Westbridge High's face-saving habits. Official documents lacked poetry. That was why Exit Pass existed. The final chapter went up 2 nights later. The post left Madison, Tyler, Mr. Morrison, and Dean Hayes unnamed. I wrote about a student who learned that the easiest person to sacrifice was the one who kept volunteering. I wrote about a card trick, a piano bench, a ledger, and a stage where the fact finally stopped leaving the table. The comments exploded. I closed them after 10 minutes. SAT was still coming. Second chances were not free. They were work with better information, so I did simple things repeatedly. Study, update, pack orders, repay debts, walk Emma to the bus stop, stop when she wanted silence, tease her when she looked too serious. Let her tease me back when my low-key behavior once again involved standing beside board leaders in public photos like a humble disaster. One evening after self-study, Emma and I walked past the Brookfield High Literature Board. The repost of Exit Pass was still pinned there, older now, crowded by newer notices. Her piano showcase photo had been added beside it. In the picture, she sat at the bench under the stage lights with her back straight and hands poised, no longer hiding from the room. Emma looked at the photo for a long time. "I was very nervous," she said. "I noticed. You did not hold my hand." I glanced at her. "You were holding your own ground." She looked down. The bracelet slid against her sleeve. Then she reached for my hand herself. The hallway held old posters, quiet windows, my ridiculous second chance, and Emma's fingers fitting between mine in the school that had given me room to become someone else. The first time Tyler Hayes humiliated Madison Cole, I ruined my life trying to save her. This time, I kept my hands in my pockets. I refused to save the girl who used me as a shield. And somehow, with facts on the table, Emma beside me, and my future still ahead, I saved the only life that was actually mine.